Welcome back to Full Court Press, Fast Break News' show to bring you amazing content all MLQ season long. My name is Whitney Ho, and this is my amazing co-star, Nicholas Love. Just kidding, guys. Nick's in the Bahamas this weekend, you know? Genuinely, like you get rostered on USQ All-Star, and then all of a sudden you forget all your day ones. It's insane. I would never do that. But with that being said, we're going to have a quick Whitney solo episode today so I can let y'all know what to expect this weekend at Eastern Conference Champs. And we're going to save the recaps for Central Conference Champs for when Nick gets back so we can give you a little bit more of an in-depth analysis. But with that being said, let's get into it. So, Eastern bracket, we've got some great games scheduled. Starting off with the Atlantic #1 seed and the Gateway #1 seed. It's going to be New York versus Charlotte. I'm going to go off on a limb here and say that New York's going to win this 2-0. I have faith. They're #1 for a reason. I think they're going to comfortably secure this #1 Eastern spot heading into MLQ Champs. But I did get a chance to look at the roster that Charlotte is bringing, and I'm very excited to see that they're bringing a full roster. You know, Charlotte always really travels well. So I think this is just going to be a good series overall. I do think New York's going to win, but very excited to see how Charlotte does against, a top team in the league. And we'll see how it goes. Match number 2 is going to be the second seed, so that's going to be Boston versus Detroit. I have written down here as prediction that Boston's going to win 2-1, and we don't have our little Detroit person to come and tell us how I'm wrong. So sorry, Nick, but gonna give it to Boston, but very excited to see Detroit kind of at its strongest. I feel like we haven't really seen that. We got a little glimpse of that when they played Cleveland last week, but playing up against a good team, that always allows your stars to shine a little bit more. Very excited for John Jackson on Detroit. Hopefully he'll be able to do some great things. And then finally, our last confirmed series of day one is going to be Washington versus Cleveland, the two final #3 seeds. I have Washington taking this one pretty comfortably, 2-0. And we have spent the majority of the season kind of shitting on Washington for the lack of a better term. But, Washington is still a good team. I think they got an unlucky draw with New York. And then, the Boston series was something to forget. But, the only way you can go from here is up. And I think that Washington has had a lot of time to, figure out some kinks, work them out, and see how they can move forward in this season and hopefully make a really deep run at champs. But going off of that, transitioning into day 2, if all of my predictions stand, we're going to see Charlotte versus Boston for the #2 seed, and then Detroit versus Washington. And I'm going to go with Boston beating Charlotte only because I feel like Boston has played more difficult teams this season. And obviously, that's not Charlotte's fault, okay? But Boston has proven that they can win in big moments. The whole Washington series, that was a really, really great insight onto Washington or Boston's, cohesiveness as a team and how they play together. And I'm very excited to see that matchup specifically because I feel like those teams are very even in terms of talent, and it'll be interesting. It's anybody's game, it's anybody's game. But Detroit versus Washington, I'm going to give this one 2-1 to Washington. Again, I don't want to flag on Detroit, guys, but I just think that Washington, they have a chip on their shoulder. They want to come out and win. They want to get a good seed going into champs. And this is a really great opportunity. They have a good matchup lined up, whether it's Detroit or it's Boston. So very excited to see Washington kind of do what we were all hoping that they were going to do from the beginning of the season. That is kind of it for Eastern Conference champs. Very excited to see how these teams come out. Central Conference champs was great quad ball to watch, so definitely keep your eye out for these games. I don't really have any hot takes just because Nick's not here, but definitely want to shout out All-Star Weekend. USQ All-Star Weekend. We just got the rosters and the jerseys, and the jerseys look really sick, if I do say so myself. I have actually been considering getting a Nick Love Midwest Great Lakes jersey, so we'll see if I end up investing in that. I don't know. I'm a little mad that Nick's in the Bahamas and leaving me by myself, but it's fine. And, check out those jerseys, check out your favorite players. USQ is doing a really great incentive-based program where the players can actually, receive some profit from the jerseys that they sell. So definitely go out and support your friends, support the All-Stars. Very excited to see everybody come out in October. And, we only have 2 weeks left of MLQ season. So everyone, final stretch, keep it locked. And Nick will be back next week and we'll give you a banger episode then. And, Champs is coming up and we're getting to the end of it. Stay locked, stay woke, and we'll see you guys next week.
Kinda tired trying at the same shit. Kinda tired trying to give a fuck.